Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
To our podcast, episode number 2, where we're gonna discover, well, I will discover what we're gonna chat about right now.
Maybe I will discover too.
Okay. So you're totally unpreparedly prepared.
I'm prepared. But the fun part is that just before we were starting,
Uh-huh.
you said, "Are we going to fight for the name of the podcast?" Because originally,
We're talking like few years ago. Yeah, when we first talked about podcast. What was the name of it?
it was a few days ago.
What?
It was Look Within, and now he's
Oh.
like, "Oh my God, I received this and blah blah blah," and all of that. And anyways, and when you welcome people, you actually didn't say the name of the podcast. You said, "Welcome to our podcast."
Yeah, well, I did
And-
not. Yeah, I did not say. Well, I already named the first episode, as you guys could see. I named it.
So he
Ask
just
Away
decided-
A&K. I didn't decide. It was like a divine intervention.
Exactly, and it's just you just follow.
No, but doesn't it make like sense to say Ask Away A&K? Because my idea, I don't know if it's your idea, is for you guys to eventually include yourself through your questions as well, something that you want to discuss, and maybe give the topics to this stuff to be more inclusive. And eventually as well, if we go and include other people, which we want to do, we want to interview other people or bring other friends to our podcast, to our wonderful couch. Wouldn't that be fun too also? Anyway,
That sounded a little bit
oh my gosh, where your mind is going.
sexual.
Yeah.
Okay,
Now back to the serious mode.
but
You told me my hair is good, right?
amazing.
Amazing. So what's up? What you want to talk about?
I want to start by sharing a story that I told you and a couple of friends. So a few weeks ago, I was walking with Alexander and I was listening to music, some songs. And sometimes when I do that, I imagine myself that I'm the one singing it because I always wanted to sing and be on stage and all of that. And I always get, and I'm talking about years, a very specific emotion going through my body. And I wouldn't say particularly it's like negative or positive. It's just very,
Intense?
very intense. And I can recognize it because it's always happened when I'm imagining myself in public. And usually it's not just in public, not any public, but usually it would be like in a past, like in front of my school or some places where in essence I didn't feel I accomplished something, you know, or I didn't feel special, so to speak. Accomplished is not exactly the term, but and then I said, okay, enough of this. I would like to shift that emotion. So what can I do? So instead of, okay, if I like to imagine that I'm singing, so instead of trying to imagine that I'm singing in front of a public because I'm seeking some kind of approval or validation, right? Because having a voice and singing, it's something so special. So let me actually imagine that I'm doing it now as I walk. So in the now, how that would feel. And that started to feel different. That started to feel as I'm more present and actually very delicious. And then it transmuted into, oh my God, I don't need to have a voice or any talent per se to be special. I'm special just by being here. And that reminds me when you would tell me, just shine your lights, And in that moment, I actually integrated, speaking about integration in our previous podcast, and I experienced what that light, not what that light is, actually that light shining within me. And I would say the most amazing part was also that I then start to walk and see others in that light. So I was like, oh my God, everyone is so special just by being here. Yes, our talents are also special, but they're just part of the expression. But they're
An excuse, yeah.
An excuse. They're not inherently making us special. Being here, alive, and being the light and shining it. I have no words. It's what is special.
Well, that will be the end of our episode. So, see you next time.
Sorry.
You okay? Do you want me to bring you some water?
No, it's okay.
You're good?
I'm good.
Okay.
But I want you now to speak.
Yes, please. Well, first, last week and now it's not because he's coughing. Like his eyes just lit up. Last time and this time it's just like so perfect to see it.
That's the light, my light with you.
Yeah. Well, I'm just like I cannot stop observing that, especially with the lights as I mentioned last time and from the side. Well, as you're saying this, the thing that comes like very clear distinction comes to mind. So when you were looking for that approval or for that validation in those specific groups, right? So is it the school? Is it the theater? Is it going out? Is whatever the social construct is. The focus was on destination. If I do this, I'll be happy. If I get to... How happy would I be if I was to perform in front of people and do this, this, and this, right? How happy would I be if they validate me? Meaning, if I get that reflection, how special
I would feel.
Yeah, but what makes you feel special from what you just said is because you just dropped into the now moment. You just brought it through that specific talent or skill. You brought it to experience it on a boardwalk on a beautiful day, walking our son, and by saying it's an excuse to flow the energy. It's an excuse to express something into physicality, right? We often hear those words. It's just like so awesome to see how you stepped away and create a little bit of a distance and saw what's behind the action. And kind of like, not kind of, but who is running the show here? It's not your identity, it's not your skill, it is not your accomplishment. It's just, you know, the owner of the house, as one of our wonderful friends would say, just looking for any excuse to experience and to express and to shine the light. I just talked today with a new client, and she's also mentioning about all of these ideas that she has going on, right? We opened up the conversation about what she has going on, and then she said, but I have this and I have that and I have that. And I'm thinking to myself, yes, it's like not everything needs to be this thing, you know, that goes and, you know, pays your bills or takes care of your whatever you like about in life or whatever you want to experience. It's not just about that. It's about anything we give attention to can feel so full. So in that moment of you performing on the beach, well, yeah, you were a singer, you were a dancer, you were experiencing that. But more than that, you allowed yourself to just simply... this is another one that comes to mind now. It's so good. It's just like you surrendered to presence. I don't think I've ever received it so clearly. Just like surrender into presence. And then when you surrendered into presence, then you could not only experience what you experienced, but you actually could connect some really awesome dots. That's so good. So good.
That was really good. And I also, that actually led me to a farther understanding and then integration of when you often tell me, are you leaving anyone behind by shining your lights?
Oh, so good.
Are you, what would happen if you get everything that you want? What would happen? You know, would someone suffer? Do you think you would like, would someone not have? Or so I would like to expand this a little bit more, because to be honest, the moments when you tell me that usually are moments when I'm like triggered by something and you want me to focus, so you become very sharp and you just focus here, and then you ask these, you know, nudgy questions that now I'm receiving more as a reflection of, okay, enough. I already complained, I already whined, I already did all the so okay, I expressed, so recognized where I am, I'm okay with where I am, now let me go to where I want to be. So I take it as an opportunity, and I would like you to tell me more about that.
Mm-hmm.
And tell me, yeah, just tell me more about that.
Well, before I go there, I just want everyone who is new here, or everyone who is not, who knows us, to remind you, and for everyone who is new, to let you know that, like, none of this that flows through would ever happen without what flows through. So very important for me to say it right now. Sometimes I feel it's like, you know, we already mentioned it a couple of times, you know, this is what you tell me and this is what I get. Like, if there was not to be this dynamic that we have, and me being able to fully be me in front of you, to ask you 700 gazillion questions per day, and to also flow the answers when we want to flow, you know, it is for sure not one-sided thing. I just want first want that to get out there, just to be clear that, you know, it's not like he's coming in always with asking questions and I'm the only one giving answers. It's none of that. But
I just like to ask questions.
He just likes to ask questions too. Yes. So to go back to this, that wanted to come out. It came out. We'll make whatever we want to make out of it. Shining your light and not leaving anyone behind. I feel sometimes, especially when we get on this spiritual journey, right? Meaning we're spiritual beings in a physical body, so all of our journey is spiritual. But let's just say we become aware of that. So when we become aware that we are on a spiritual journey, I feel sometimes we go into that so much analyzing and start putting things into the groups, you know, because we're moving, right? And now we are sensing that we're moving, and now we feel, now the remainder awareness of our accomplishing in mind, or accomplishing part of the mind.
I know.
Intellect,
been there,
yeah.
done it.
Yeah. So the destination part, I just want to get into this cluster. I want to get into this group. I want to get into this frequency. I want to get, you know, to a destination, like, you know, goal accomplishing, like intellectual process. So I feel that we sometimes, you know, feel like we need to put some very hardcore boundary, and that if we are to move in that direction, that we're going to leave somebody behind. You know, whether it's your friend or your family member, or, you know, somebody at work, or, you know, somebody that you deeply care about, a partner maybe, yeah? But in the essence of that, that does show up, but it's the first step. as we talked last time a little bit about the boundaries, putting the boundary just enough for you to be able to go back to center. But our capacity to include everything and everyone is limitless because of our nature and because of our spiritual nature, right? So another angle for you're not leaving anyone behind, and what would happen? What would happen if you would get everything that you want? Meaning, what would happen if you were to turn on your light? So much so. Remember when I started channeling, and then we've done like 100 and, I don't know, 20 or 30 broadcasts within the first year and a half. And then at one point I was just like, lee-da-da, tee-da-da, right? So many people got to experience that, which you've summoned through your desire and I've summoned through my desire together. And, you know, all of the retreats and broadcasts and transformations of people just showing up and miracles happening all over, right? Remember how at one point you were like, hey, make sure you stick around on this planet, don't lose full on interest. This whole like turning on the light so much can sometimes feel like, well, what if I get clarity about everything? Like, what would I be still doing here if everything is crystal clear, right? And you remember that phase. It was like, what, maybe a year and a half ago? I remember it was 2021, maybe like fall. And then, you know, it was a valid thing and valid question. I really asked myself and I was like, oh, no. All of this amazing, wonderful clarity is now to find its way into integration, right? But that experience prompted me to be aware physically within my own body that, you know, it's a legit thing. What if you turn on, like, what if you blow up a balloon and balloon at one point explodes and you're like, sorry, not interested anymore, goodbye. That can happen too, you know. Transition from one lifetime to another one does not always have to happen through suffering and not feeling good. It can happen very naturally like that too. And so I feel that that's in the essence of us coming into the physical body, of having that clarity, wanting to go into the world of a little bit of illusion, finding our way, remembering, forgetting, then remembering and remembering more, but playing on that wonderful place of having so much clarity and having and integrating that light into physical experience. What really strongly comes now, integrating light into the contrast. So light is not there to eliminate the contrast. It's just to integrate it, to absorb it, to hug it, to love this variety of like phenomenal vibrations, frequencies, call it whichever way you want. Emotions, right? The range of everything that there is to experience here. Because think about it for a second. If you're non-physical and you know, and you have all of this awareness and you know what's what, and you know, you're celebrating the contrast. Well, it's weird to say 24/7 in eternity, but like if you're celebrating non-stop and then you're coming into the physical experience and you know, how much of that can you now bring in within that same illusion that you create? It's like the most phenomenal, one of the most phenomenal, like my whole body is buzzing right now just talking about that. It's, in that sense, there is, you know, you don't leave anyone behind there either, because everyone is eager, present here, always supporting, cheering. So it's to find that wonderful balance and then to push the envelope sometimes a little bit and sometimes to retract and contract too. That, like, all of it is just so wonderful.
When you when you just said about I feel like when we raise our frequency and it seems that others who we care about around us are not up to speed, it's when we do it as a quantum leap.
You mean everyone that you give attention to reflects back to you that frequency, yeah?
They're actually not up to speed.
Okay, I'm getting excited. Let's see where you go with this. Okay, so you raise your frequency and they're not up to speed, and then?
And then there is one option. Because we all want to have quantum leaps, right? Oftentimes we all want to like destination, destination, right? But I feel like when we do it in a gradual way, and gradual I don't imply slow, gradual, you know, but moving, I feel like the difference is not as drastic, and then you can include with more ease everyone around you. Does
you mean
it make
along
sense?
the way? Okay, well, yeah, you can jump and feel yourself separate, or meaning like I'm here, there. Those are the clusters we talked
exactly.
about. And then you have a choice. If that's satisfying to you to be in that cluster, don't worry. For some time, it's gonna feel good. New contrast will have you expand again. But you can also, from that perspective of I'm here, there. Now I can go ahead and include them as well, because then they're showing back to you only what you're ready to see in them. So when you raise your frequency, so to speak, and I'll talk about the frequency in just a second. I just covered it today in one of the sessions. So when you raise the frequency and you say, I'm here, there, that's because you say I'm here, there. But you can quickly see them that they are there too, and they will show you that side. It cannot be any other way. Now, do you like to put that boundary and see yourself a little bit there first, and then you say, well, now I'm ready to read between the lines, right? Because that's the process. I'm ready to now read between the lines and see, actually, okay, I could not see it in you because I didn't see it in me, but now I see it in me. Wait a second, let me see where I can see it in you. That will be a step 1, 2. Like you leap, and then they join you off our light just went away. Our light. Yeah. Maybe how do I look? Do you want to check? Please. What, I don't want to check? I think we're good.
You think?
Can you check, please? No, I really want to see it now. It's gonna keep my attention going. Just 1 second. Let's see. Oh my god, this is so funny. Live TV.
Actually, you look good.
Yeah?
Cute.
Okay.
Super cute.
Okay. So you leap, and then you bring them in with you, right? That's okay, Mila. It's okay. I'm going to just glow on my own. I'm gonna bring more of my light outside.
Speaking about lights.
But this is so funny because this is actually falling on you some more. Let me just see you now. Wait a second.
I look amazing.
Yes? You do look amazing. Gosh. Okay, and then the other gradual, incremental, consistent change that you say, that feels more like a layer of you seeing it in them, layer of you, layers you seeing it in them. It's like what I like to go, and that gets very satisfying. The thing that comes to mind is like, you know, like when you eat something savory and then you finish it with sweet, but then you remember how savory was good, and then you can pretty much eat it right after because you just had sweet, so you can go after and then you eat sweet and you eat savory, and sometimes, you know, then your tummy gets a little upset later on. But what I'm talking about is this layers of inclusion can happen like that, right? And now this inclusion is always happening because whether you do it in a more like, I'm me, you are you, and now let me go ahead and include, let me see more, because it's inevitable. What happens when you get everything that you want in your little boundary? What happens? What happens if you're like, you know, you want to go? What happens with all of us when we were kids? We have a son now. What happens when, I mean, he found a way out of his little playground the other day, and we're like, what? What when you become familiar with your little boundary that you have? You want to explore and you want to burst more. So if you're good on your own, in your boundary, under your conditions, now you want to be a little bit more unconditional, which means you want to include, you want to get more of that. It's a very inclusion. Oh my gosh, it's so good. Inclusion is very selfish in nature because you experience the benefit of that inclusion. So it's, oh my gosh, so good. Like so much is coming, but I'll let you speak for a second. Or should I continue? This is so good.
Please continue.
Oh, this is so good. Yeah. So to recap this little mumbling section, we all are, each individual point of creation, which we all are, unique angle, is always looking to experience as many angles as possible. And so you want to really, there's no limit to how many phenomenal reflections you can get. What comes to mind is also like sports people, right? Why do people put themselves into these big arenas? Right? Why do they do that? Especially the ones that have already done it. Let's just say they won a championship. Why do you keep going over and over again? Because, you know, maybe in the beginning they did not like you, meaning your feedback of, you know, press did not like you, or maybe, you know, the crowd did not like you. And then all of a sudden you're earning their respect, which means you're receiving more respect for you, and they start showing you that. And maybe, you know, smaller stadiums you feel good, but on the bigger ones not so much. And then there is no limit. And then you're giving yourself an opportunity, because more mirror reflections they are, when they're uncomfortable, it's super uncomfortable, right? But when it feels good, there's no feeling like that.
And also, I feel like anyone who includes big amounts of people, let's say a public person or anyone, or there's going to be a variety of reflections.
Absolutely.
They're not going to be all positive.
Absolutely.
And when you include people, you include all of it, right? So let's say, even the other day, we didn't get like a negative comment, but we you know, it was a comment that maybe I felt, oh, this person didn't fully understand, you know?
No, it understood perfectly.
But then I was like, oh, this was the first time where I fully felt my righteousness because I was about to answer, of course, very nice, but in a way like, oh, let me just
Let me explain myself.
Let me explain myself. And then when I realized, I was like, well, first of all, I don't want to write anything from that perspective. And also, I want all of it. I want to include these comments and these comments and that comments and all of the comments, you know? And I want people to get whatever they want to get, whatever they're ready to get. And so it's all perfect. It felt really good to me to realize it and just let it be. Let it be, and loving it. And
well, you don't even have to love it. That's the thing. When you're in your unique individual things, it's just, this is just different. And it's not like who has a, you know, better understanding or not better understanding. Like the comparison part, that righteousness you talk about, it's comparison part. There's always going to be some trace about it. Ooh, wait a second, is like, you know, that rubs you wrong way of like, oh my gosh, something is turning on, is just the whole thing that doesn't really exist, which is we all gotta look through the same, you know, peephole and then see the world the same way. It's never gonna happen. It could never happen. It will never happen. It will never happen. But another thing that came to,
and I wanna add, I did love it.
Okay.
Because that was what gave me you know, the awareness that I just shared. Without that comment, I wouldn't experience that new awareness.
Well, it's okay. You didn't like it first because righteousness turned on, but you ended up including it So then you love that you had the experience of moving yourself from separation to inclusion. Oh yeah, how good is that? Yeah. And the oh my gosh, this was so good. Such a good clarity, and I'm just catching up to it. Really, really good. I'll leave it there for now. I know what happened to our computer because our audio also stopped now because I forgot to plug in computer to charge. So our light and one of our lights.
And that's why the light.
And so we'll see. You're gonna get the phone quality of the recording today, but
why not just plug it in? That's okay.
Well, it's okay. We're gonna leave it as it is right now because we're gonna have this little segment where the thing went off. It's gonna take too much time. It's okay.
Okay.
Actually, how do you feel? I feel like, do you feel complete for today? Is there anything else that's coming to your mind? I feel this was an awesome.
I feel this was full.
Yeah, very rich.
Full.
Yeah.
I could continue.
Yes.
And we will. So
let's leave it for the next time. Thank you everyone for watching, for being part of this wonderful, spontaneous, ever-learning process. We're gonna keep playing with the name and also keep your awareness about our description box below, because as we go, we're gonna be posting all of our updates there. Like we're transitioning to a new platform for websites, so it's gonna be a newsletter to sign up. There will be our offerings that we have, our broadcasts, our new community that's gonna come up soon. Just keep your eyes down on this, because you might be watching this like 6 months from now, right? So we're gonna keep updating it. The description box below is the place to be to get all the info if you're here on YouTube.
Yeah, and also ask us anything.
Yeah,
and feel free to share any reflection.
Yeah, or recommendations, or not recommendations. Well, recommendations or desires of what would you like us to talk about, even though I guess we're already receiving it in a way, and because it flows so nice and natural. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.
Love you.
We love you.